In 2002, people will probably remember, there was a tremendous sex panic in this country, and it was located in the city of Boston, and it involved the Catholic Church and priests, and claims that priests had sexually abused lots of children. There were a few priests who became big names in this panic. One of them was Father Paul Shanley. He had been a street priest in the 70s. He was a kind of very major figure at one time in Boston in the 70s. Everybody knew him. He had long hair. He said homosexuality was fine. He said the church was wrong on abortion. The church was wrong on the pill. He was a very radical priest. In 2002, the Boston Globe came out with a big splashy article about lots of priests they said had abused children. And Shanley was one of them. So Shanley became suddenly a kind of lightning rod for this panic.
Tonight, more troubling revelations surface in the growing church sex abuse scandal.
A disproportionate number of gay men.
In modern times, sex scandals involving priests and children.
What I want to get at, really, is to put people in the position of suddenly finding themselves accused of a heinous crime, attacking a child, sexually abusing a child, on the basis of one man who read an article in the Boston Globe, which he and his family believed could explain all his troubles. And therefore, after reading this, he suddenly, after 20 years, said that he had been abused every week for 6 years from the ages of 6 to 12. This claim, based on a news article, the word of a friend, journaling, becomes the basis of a criminal prosecution that sends a man to prison for rape and indecent abuse for 12 to 15 years. Nothing else supports this case. So there are two strands of belief operating here. One is that Shanley was guilty. Shanley naturally was guilty because he was found guilty in the press. Tried, convicted, found guilty in the press. The second strand of belief is that there is such a thing as repressed memory. And this goes back basically to the 1970s. A lot of people suddenly started saying, oh my God, yes, I was abused. I was abused horribly for years and I have no memory of it. And a lot of therapists got into the business of trying to get people to remember, trying to elicit these memories from victims. There is no actual scientific evidence whatsoever that this is possible. And this is the problem here. The ground is littered with victims of these memory claims, but they're particularly pernicious because they're used in criminal prosecutions. There's 60 years of research on memory and trauma involving about 14,000 people who are documented victims of rape, sexual abuse, war, or they were combat veterans, they weren't always victims of war, but involved in war, in torture, in death camps. There is no evidence that people repressed memory, that is, completely forgot. You never forgot you were in Vietnam. You never forgot you were in Auschwitz. You never had no way of accessing that most traumatic event in your life. And as there is no scientific evidence to support this, it is just a belief, and it can't be used as evidence in court. It can't be used to send people away.